My husband wants kids, but I think I want a divorce. We have a 29 female OP, 31 male husband. Posted in r/relationship advice on June 14th, 2025. My husband and I have been together for 8 years. The last 3 we've been married. Little things keep adding up, and I don't even know how to approach these issues. He wants kids soon, but I can't trust that he'd support me. I'm trying to figure out if I try to work on us or just leave. Recently, as in the last 4 years, I've been dealing with chronic health issues, but just this year alone, I've had 3 surgeries to fix various things for my health. Doesn't seem like a great time to have kids then. Our sex life hasn't been good in a few years since I got ill, maybe once or twice a month. He has told me that it's not enough and he's feeling rejected and is making his mental health worse. But if we have kids, we won't be able to have sex while I'm recovering? ? Wait, hold on. Did bro just say, if you don't have sex with me, my mental health is gonna get worse? I'm sorry, but that is the absolute fucking worst thing I've ever heard in my life. What do you mean that you having sex is directly tied to your mental health? I'm sorry, dog. That's just skill issue. If lack of having sex affects your mental health, you need grippy sock vacation. ASAP Rocky, bro. What do you mean? That is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard. I work 5 to 6 days a week, 12-hour night shifts in healthcare. I'm the primary breadwinner in our relationship. He bounces from job to job and recently was unemployed for over a year while he was claiming to be applying to jobs. I know the job market is horrible right now, so I wasn't pushing. I found out he was lying. He hadn't applied for anything in about 6 months, including the jobs I got him recommended for through some connections I have. We got into a massive fight and I basically told him if he didn't have a job at the end of the month, I was leaving and he could figure out bills himself. Not even a week later, he was back working at his old job. Yeah, see, that's not a guy that should have a kid. Fucking sue me. I know it's probably a shitty thing to say, but like, my guy, if you can't hold down a job, if you can't figure out how to sustain yourself in life, how the fuck are you gonna take care of a kid properly? Bare minimum, chat. I still do all the cooking, cleaning, and household upkeep. On my days off, I spend 3 to 4 hours just putting everything in order for the week. Even when he wasn't working, he wasn't doing anything except playing video games in another room while I slept. So when I'd wake up, there would be laundry I'd have to switch or cat litter I'd have to scoop. He wants kids soon, but with my chronic health problems, it's going to make children a really hard process on my body, lots of health risks, and I would basically have to be on bed rest the whole time and in and out of doctor appointments. I couldn't work or do anything really, and I'm just scared I won't get the support that I need. I don't even know if I want to have kids with him anymore. He gets money every month from a settlement and he says it's enough to make up for the income I won't be bringing in if I get pregnant. The settlement payout every month is less than 1/4 of what I make in 2 weeks. Okay, so he's also fucking Delulu. I feel like I'm his mother already. I feel like I'd be one of those married single mothers. I've asked him about therapy, individual or couples, and he is dismissive, saying therapy hasn't helped in the past. So I've asked about medications, but he doesn't want to take a pill every day. I don't want to come across as horrible or manipulative, but I'm about ready to write out everything I do. Bill payments, chores, time at work, etc. And have him do it all for a month and then tell me he thinks we can have kids right now. No, I actually think that fucking cooks. Because first off, he probably won't be able to do it. But if you're already married to this man, I think it's like, give him an opportunity. Not that you haven't given him opportunities to step up to the fucking plate. But probably the #1 complaint that I get on this channel is people are like, oh no, like Sarby's telling them to give up on the marriage too early. Which like, I don't think in this case, she wouldn't be giving up on the marriage too early. This man is actively showing her who he actually is. I don't know if she knew he was basically a fucking bum while getting married to him. If she was, I'm kind of like, why the fuck would you get married to him? But like, this is the bed that you're in. I think it's worth it to get out of it because he is showing you who he is. And this is also just giving a guy who like, he only sees you as somebody to have sex with and to produce his offspring. I think the writing's on the table, but sure, if you aren't gonna go for the divorce, at least do what you said in those last 2 lines. Let him try to step up to the plate. I would bet the fucking house that he's not going to step up to the plate. It would honestly be kind of funny to see him crumble and fail and then try to justify it. I think OP needs to leave him. I don't know. Here's the thing, y'all. I know people criticize me on it, but I still think like there's just some shit that you shouldn't put up with. Like, this just sounds like a case of like you married someone who just either they bamboozled you or when you were younger, you just didn't have the balls to figure out, is this actually somebody that I should marry? In some cases, immediately calling for a divorce is justified. I think think so too. There's one in the last video. It was the one with the wife that was saying like, oh, my husband is like lazy and I do all the work just to like be cool in front of all of her friends. And then she was like talking shit about her partner. I just like don't think that's anybody that you would want to have a partner personally. Lack of sex, especially if you're married / in a relationship, can be really depressing. To me, it should only be depressing if like you're doing everything you can romantically to like get that spark going and there's nothing wrong with your partner. They just don't want to have sex with you. And there's maybe like an aspect of like, oh, they don't love me anymore. Or like they're not attracted to me anymore. Our marriage isn't what it used to be kind of thing. I can understand that. But when your wife is having chronic health issues and has had multiple surgeries in half of a year and you're complaining about not being able to have sex enough and you're saying that affects your mental health, I'm sorry, but grow a pair. There are some things where it's like, that's a stupid thing to be depressed about. I'll say it. Like, I do think there are things in this world that it's like, that's kind of dumb for you to be depressed about that. If you're depressed because you're not having sex with your partner who's chronically ill and has had multiple surgeries in half a year, I'm sorry, dog, that's on you. That's on you. I don't know what to tell you, man. Get on some antidepressants. Once again, it just goes back to skill issue. I'm single right now. I'm not having sex consistently. Am I depressed? No. When I get horny, I don't go, oh, wee woo, I'm so sad. Just go and fucking jerk off. Like, listen, if you tie your happiness to sex, skill issue. Here's the thing. I think you can get depressed that your relationship doesn't have sex, even though you're doing all the things to initiate sex in the relationship. Because then I think it's more of like, you're more depressed about your relationship not being in a position to have sex. But in this guy's case, there's like a good reason for OP not to be having sex with him. And he's being like, oh, well, that's hurting my mental health. If you can't just like objectively be like, okay, would I prefer to be having sex right now? Yes, but I can't specifically because of this thing. Then I think that's not excusable. Okay, so there's an edit from the same day. A few things, since this is a very real story and not AI, and I'm a real person who's making choices in order to keep up with the current economy and situation. 1, I work the hours I do so I can build up my PTO and sick time for my procedures and recovery time. Yes, I have FMLA for these, but it only pays out 60% of my wages versus 100% if I use PTO. Overtime accrues PTO times 2 and pays time and a half. We also have a pickup bonus of $10 an hour. I've been working at this hospital since 2015 as a CNA and phlebotomist since 2018 and an RN since 2020. So I have seniority and that comes benefits. Yay, unions. 2, I work night shift because it has the flexibility for my schedule and they work with me for my restrictions. I am lucky enough to work in a hospital that uses lifts and is staffed as well as can be currently. Shift differential also gives me an additional $6 an hour and that quickly adds up. 3, my surgeries were laparoscopic and recovery time is about 1 to 4 weeks on average. Surgery 1 and 3 were both exploratory. My second was to remove a lesion on my intestines that connected them to my abdominal wall, as well as a cyst on my ovary, and recovery was 4 weeks with 4 more on restrictions. I'm about to have a 4th surgery to remove my gallbladder. Recovery is 1 to 2 weeks with 2 weeks of recovery. Yes, I've had a lot of surgeries this year, but I haven't had any before this unless you count upper and lower GI scopes, pelvic floor testing, gastric emptying test, x-rays, CTs, an MRI, labs, genetic testing, and HIDA scans. I mean, yeah, those aren't surgeries, but holy fuck, OP's been through the ringer. God damn. There's diet changes and medications that you have to be on for months at a time before you'd see any real changes. I also have the birth control implant, and me coming off that would involve about 3 different doctors' inputs and oversights. 4, I blocked all my husband's accounts and his friends' accounts that I know of. I plan on deleting this at some point, but I've just gotten angrier with each comment and everything I type out. At this point, I don't care if he finds this. Maybe this would be a wake-up call he needs. 5, our wedding was supposed to take place in November of 2020. That obviously didn't happen. We rescheduled to the end of 2021, so we didn't lose deposits. He quit his job about 2 months after our wedding. Okay, so maybe bro was putting up a facade a little bit. 6, people do things like meal prep for a week and find relaxation in cooking. My hospital provides scrubs. When I am home, I have more than 6 pairs of underwear, so it's not like I don't have clothes if I don't do laundry every day. I feel like she's clarifying stuff because people in the comments were just nitpicking everything that she said. Like, I don't know, I didn't see any red flags. I appreciate all the comments comments, but to the rude ones especially, please remember that I'm a real person. I'm sorry I have to justify every small detail of my health problems for you. Unfortunately, the knee brace girl in middle school sometimes grows up and still has health problems. This is my first time being alive, and not everything is going to be perfect. I'm trying my best, and sometimes people do stupid things because they love someone. Well, that ain't the truth. Okay, honestly, that edit was kind of pointless. I can't even lie. Not because of OP's fault. I think OP was getting like a lot of rude comments siding with the husband for some fucking reason, and they had to justify all their shit. I mean, I don't know. I didn't see any problems with this. It sounds like somebody who works hard to make a lot of money for themselves and the person that they love and do a lot of chores to upkeep. Like, I don't know what there is to nitpick in this paragraph. Update July 16th, 2025, 2 days after the original post. I talked with my lawyer last week, and the hope is papers are to be drafted and he will be formally served when he comes back from his work trip in 2 weeks. We love to hear it, chat. We love to hear it. On one of my days off, I wanted to have a discussion about our relationship, and it didn't go well. I had spent the night cleaning and getting the house put together because my anxiety was so bad. When he woke up in the morning, I had breakfast made, and we just made polite small talk. I started the conversation by asking him if he was happy in our relationship. I'll summarize the conversation. OP, are you happy with this? With us? I feel like we are roommates more than a married couple. OP's husband. I don't think either of us have been happy for a while. I do still love you and want to raise children with you. You'll be a great mom. I've been meaning to talk to you about something. OP. Okay, ... Chat, he's asking for an open relationship. Here it fucking comes. OP's husband. Do you remember my friends in insert city and how they were having problems in their relationship after fake name came out as Ace? How they opened their relationship so insert fake name could still get his needs met. At this point, I was just staring at him. He kept rambling on. I've joined some groups online. They said it saved their marriage. And with how much I'm traveling now for work, it would be every other 2 weeks, you know? And I'm in city name, so it's not like it would be someone you know or would ever meet. OP responded to that with, what the fuck? OP's husband. I mean, think about it. We could have a surrogate this way. I know it would be a lot, but we could make it work. You've always talked about fostering or adopting, and it would be just like that. OP. Did you get someone pregnant? Is this your way of telling me you cheat on me when you travel for work? OP's husband. No, God, no. There was one girl at the bar who was flirting with me, and it just felt nice to be wanted like that. Yeah, dude cheated. He then pulled out his phone and started showing me support groups he had joined online for poly people in monogamous relationships. There was probably 3 or 4 of them that he had been texting in for the last few weeks, trying to gain the confidence to talk to me about opening our relationship. He brought up how he knows I've been thinking about switching to travel contracts, and I can meet people there, but then we come back home, we're together and married because we still love each other. I have nothing against people who are on poly relationships. We have friends who are and have met their partners and all go out together. It's just not for me. When I'm with someone, I want to be the only person they're with. I don't want to get tested regularly. I don't want to risk surprise pregnancy. I don't want to feel jealous or wonder if he's texting another girl while he's supposed to be spending time with me. I let him finish his speech before I told him it hasn't felt like we've been married a long time and I'm done. Hearing that he wants to see other people killed any last feelings I may have had. I'm not in love anymore, and staying together isn't going to make either of us happy. We both want kids, but our timelines are different. What we want from the future is different now. I asked him to move out, and he didn't seem surprised. I walked away and left him in the kitchen before I drove to my friend's house since I couldn't be there. We spent the day drinking and eating ice cream while I went from crying to laughing to screaming. She is currently going through a divorce over her ex-husband's porn addiction and the debt he put them in because of it. That's insane. She gave me her lawyer's information and I had an appointment set up with him a few days later. I went home the next day and he had moved most of his stuff out. His side of the closet is empty. His cat, the stuff in the bathroom, a few of our wedding pictures have been taken off the wall and I can't find them, so I think he took them, and his gaming setup. The house feels incredibly empty now. He travels for work, so I'm used to being in the house alone, but now my toothbrush is lonely in the cup on the sink. Our garage feels bigger now. The bed gets cold. I only have to cook for one now. I miss his presence. I miss having someone to come home to. And I won't lie, I've spent the last week crying and my heart hurts. Oh, I really hope OP has like some siblings or something like that that can come visit. That's so sad. I kind of understand that. Like if you've been probably living with this person for at least 5 to 8 years, like yeah, that could get lonely. That could be kind of a big adjustment. We didn't speak for a few days after he left. His mom reached out before he did. She wanted to see how I was doing and if there was anything she could do for me. We had a great relationship and I'm honestly going to miss having her in my life. We have a lot of the same dietary restrictions, but for different reasons. And she was my food adventure buddy. We would go out for coffee or lunch to some of the few restaurants and cafes we could safely eat at. She invited me out for coffee and I went. When we met up the next day, we made small talk until the divorce came up. She let me know how he was doing. He moved into one of the houses on their property. They have like 60 acres and 4 houses on the property that different family members live in. He hasn't really gotten out of bed. She's worried about him and wants us to talk it out. She asked if I was willing to go to couples counseling and told her I've been asking that for about a year, and his response was no. I was drowning and he didn't want to help fix it, but now that I've decided to leave is when he wants to work it and I just can't. She stayed silent for a while before asking me if I still loved him. I do, but I don't. I told her I loved who he was, but I'm too full of hurt that I don't feel the love anymore. I can't keep taking care of him like he's my child. I can't keep bankrolling our lives alone. I need a partner who is able to support me, and I haven't felt supported by her son in a long time. We were both crying by the end of our talk, and she gave a really big hug before leaving. Damn, that's so sad. Such a sweet mother-in-law. I hope she's berating her son right now. He wanted to talk the next day, and he came back to the house to talk. When he came in, it was awkward. He wanted to give me a hug, and I let him. But he went in for a kiss, and I turned my head, so he kissed my cheek. We talked for a while about our relationship and how it got to this point. He apologized for a lot. He went into specifics of how he never helped around the house. He could have done more since he was home. It wasn't fair to me that he put it all on me. He told me he's looking at a new job, one where he doesn't have to travel, and it's actually in the field he got his degree in. Oh no, girl, please. Oh wait, no. She already said she's divorcing him. Okay, good. He gave me an update on his cat, who is struggling to the adjustment of the new house. I told him I'll have papers for him in a few weeks, and he couldn't look me in the eyes for the rest of the time he was there. I helped him pack some of the odds and ends that he left around the house, and he left again. At the appointment with the lawyer, we talked about what it would look like for the divorce process. Unless he wants the house, I plan to buy his half. If I do that, then there's a good chance I won't have to pay alimony unless he fights for it. He has the potential to make more than me, so my lawyer doesn't think I'll have to pay anyways. We don't have children unless you count fur babies, and I took a pregnancy test recently to confirm that I'm not pregnant, so that won't be a factor. We each have our own cars and pay for them ourselves. We have a joint savings, but I can prove that I've been the only one contributing for the last 2 years, so it's likely I'll get most of that. I'm not touching it besides for the bills for the house per my lawyer's advice. I will hopefully have papers for my soon-to-be ex to fill out, and if he gets a lawyer to look over. My 2 cats have been laying in bed with me and haven't left my side since he left. They're trying to make me feel better, but it's hard. My friend who is also getting divorced has said that we'll have a hot girl summer together, and it makes me laugh, but I don't think I'm ready or even close to it. I don't want to meet new people. I don't want to do first dates again. I think I'm just going to be single for a while. Also, this person still is dealing with chronic health issues and post-surgery. Like, I feel like homegirl should just focus on herself for a little bit. My mom sent me this poem after I told them about the divorce, and it makes me cry reading it. I've learned a lot from this relationship, and I'm content on being the crazy old cat lady for the foreseeable future. Okay, and the poem's called I Will Never Love the Same After You by Allie Harding. I will never love the same after you. I was always the girl that loved so hard that it hurt until it hurt. I watched you change every day until you eventually became someone I told myself I would never settle for. But how do I leave you? I told myself it was just a rough patch and we could work through this. I will do more to make you love me again because I don't give up on people. So why would I do that to you? I will put myself through hell for you. I will hate myself to love you, and I will rip myself apart so that you feel cared for. Because I was serious when I said I would die for you, because I almost did. I guess I ripped myself apart so much that I had nothing left. I cared so much about you that I stopped caring about myself completely. I lost who I was and I was no longer strong, and I watched myself change every day until I eventually became someone I told myself I'd never be. But it's my fault for not having a limit on how much I'm willing to give and for how long I'm willing to stay, and for loving you more than I loved me, because I loved you so hard that it hurt. So I will never love the same after you. That reminds me of the discussion we were talking about, where in breakups, some people feel like, oh, I'm giving up on this person. But like I said before, don't get me wrong, there is such thing as giving up on someone, but there's sometimes a hard to recognize line of like, at a certain point, it becomes you're not giving up on them. You're giving up on getting what you're demanding from them, which is totally different. Thanks, Reddit, for the support and validating my feelings. I don't know yet if I'm going to delete this or not, but I don't think I will update this or anything else into this account again. I hope everyone stays happy and healthy. Take care. But then there is a mini update on the 21st, about 5 days after the original update. This happened earlier in the day today, and since I'm not logged out of this account yet, I figured someone else's flabbers can be gasted just like mine are. He asked for the ring back. The ring was my grandmother's. Her and my grandfather were married 52 years before he died of lung cancer when I was 2 years old. She never remarried and would always tell me how much they loved each other. I remember when I was little going and sitting with her and just playing with the ring on her finger because I've always thought how beautiful it was. It wasn't extravagant or large or crazy because my grandparents were not wealthy and got married before my grandfather was drafted. When she passed away, I was a teenager, but she willed her rings to me in hopes that I would love them forever and would find love equally to what she had with my grandfather. When my now soon-to-be ex-husband proposed, he had asked my parents, and my dad gave him my grandmother's ring because he knew I loved this ring so much. Oh my God! The audacity! That's insane! Yeah, girl, you dodged a bullet with this one. Just fucking wow. How much of a piece of shit do you have to be to ask for a ring back that you didn't even pay for? When my now soon-to-be ex-husband proposed, he had asked my parents, my dad gave him my grandmother's ring because he knew I loved this ring so much. And this man asked for the ring back since he was the one that proposed with it, so it means it's actually his. I'm sorry, but what the fuck? I haven't replied to his text about it, and I don't think I ever will. I'm just sitting here cackling all day at the audacity. As she should, bro. That is absolutely diabolical. Ask for a ring that you didn't pay for, and that is also a family heirloom? Girl, you really dodged a bullet on this. My bro was flying every red flag he possibly could have flown. Easily. Bro's collecting flags like he's collecting Pokemon.